guys, so for today I wanted to talk about the discriminant and its three possible solutions, because sometimes it can be confusing if you don't know what this represents. So once again, this is called the discriminant. It can be found inside the quadratic formula. And let's go back to this real quick. If I want a number that is greater than zero, aren't we talking about all the positive numbers? So let me give you it's all the positive. Let me put it in blue, actually, in green. It's all the positive numbers. Well, let's talk about how many solutions this can get. If we have the quadratic formula, which is negative b plus or minus the square root of, well, the discriminant, make sure it's all positive. Look at what's going to happen. Let's keep writing the formula over 2a. Well, guys, notice how this is it's a plus or minus. That means we have two possible choices. The first one is negative b minus the square root of a positive number, right? Of a positive number over 2a, or negative b plus the square root of a positive number over 2a. And remember, guys, we can do this with a positive number, because if we go back on decimals and double check, what's the square root of 9? Remember, guys, what I told you with square root of 9, it could be 3, or it could be plus or minus 3. When you find the square root of 9, it could be 3 squared or negative 3 squared. Because when you square both of them, it doesn't matter whether it's positive or negative, it's going to turn out as a positive 9. So that's why we can get two options. So my answer is 2 real solutions. Now, how is that going to look like in a graph? If we were to graph this, guys, let's see what's going to happen. If we were to graph this, basically it's a parabola, but how many times do you think it's crossing the x? You guessed it. It's crossing the x twice. You see it's crossing here and it's crossing there. Now, it could look like this, or it could also be a parabola going down, as long as it's touching the x-axis twice, because that means we have two real solutions. Now, same thing with this one. Let's say we have, again, let's write the formula, plus or minus the square root of. In this case, let's say it's 0 over 2a. Well, guys, what happens when you try to find the square root of 0? Can I get a positive 0? Can I get a negative 0? No, 0 does not have a charge. It's neither negative or positive. Therefore, since this is 0, you can only have one solution, because there's no such thing as a positive 0 or a negative 0. And an example of a parabola that looks like this, very simple, you probably already guessed it. It's a parabola where only the vertex is the one that's touching the vertex. It could look like this, or it could look like that. Technically, only one point of the parabola is touching. Now, if we go to the last one, where my discriminant is negative. Well, let's use the formula again. Negative b plus or minus the square root of a negative number over 2a. Well, for this one, I have to show you on decimals, guys, because look what's going to happen. If I were to make that 9 into a negative 9, look what decimal says, undefined. You can never find the square root of a negative number. Never. So what do you guys think the answer is going to be for this? There is no real solution. And how is that going to look like in a graph? Let me show you. Let me show you right here, actually. Well, if a solution means it's crossing the x-axis, do you think this is going to cross? You guessed it. It's actually either a parabola going up, meaning it will never touch the x-axis, or a parabola going down, but this way, so that it will never touch the x-axis. And that's an example of two real solutions, one solution, and no real solutions. That's how you do it.